Camp's been such a great experience. I really loved it.
This summer has been really crazy. God has stretched me in a lot of really wild ways. It's the kids that make this place absolutely the best place on earth.
I have had an amazing time here. I have made a ton of friends.
A great experience here. It just gives you that good feeling inside when you're here at Camp Victory.
One morning, I woke up in my dorm room, all of a sudden had the idea that I needed to go to camp.
But a camp just seemed like something that might have been too big of a commitment, so I came out to volunteer for 2 days a week. I got the privilege of helping lead a chapel, and I knew that it was where God wanted me. I called camp, and literally the next day I came out, and I've been at camp pretty much all summer since then.
The camp community is one that you probably won't ever find anywhere else. There are multiple people all in the same place, and when our purpose is to simply be vessels of the gospel of Christ and to simply share that with the kids and the other people around us, it becomes a really impactful place to be.
All the counselors are very loving, and they don't care who you are or where you're from, they'll love you the same.
One way I really saw God work a ton this year was just in the counselors. First week they came in, a lot of them were really struggling. And last week I walked in on several of the counselors. They had went through and they had talked to their kids so much about God, and they had figured out which kids needed a Bible, and they were taking these Bibles that they were going to give these kids, and they were taking their free time, their time off, to literally highlight in these Bibles and write notes in these Bibles because they cared that much and they put that much work into these kids. Just so amazing to see how much love the counselors just could have for these kids and how much God was able to use them this summer.
The biggest trouble I've had here was my own mental stuff. I had a full week where I was very not okay. I wasn't myself. That was hard because, of course, I had to put on a smile for the kids, but once the kids were gone, I had a lot of negative voices in my head, but I never really let that get to me because I could also hear God's voice saying, "You're loved. You don't have to worry about ever being alone because I'm always with you."
I had a group of campers who came in and they did not want anything to do with the Bible. They thought that the Bible was boring. And by the end of the week, they had been begging me for the last 4 days to read them the Bible.
I had this little girl and she would just not talk to me. I was just kind of sitting with her on a bench at one point. It started out as a "where do you go to church?" and it became her pouring out this really tough situation she was going through. After that, she just would grab my hand when we were walking somewhere and be like, "Neon," and just start talking to me out of the blue, just full volume. And I was like, wow. This girl came out of her shell in a matter of days over the fact that I talked to her about how she's doing.
I had this really cool moment with one of my campers. It was during FOB. They just weren't having it, and they walked out, and I started talking to them. We just started talking about life, and all of a sudden the conversation just switched from basic camper struggles to just pouring out their life story to me and explaining their trials and their hardships that they were going through. And it was just a really cool moment where I could show God's love to a kid in a way that I didn't expect.
Something that God has taught me here is to love one another and to trust each other.
I feel I learned that you don't have to be perfect to come to God. He'll take you at any point in your life, and that is just really beautiful.
I have a really tough background. All summer I had these kids come to me with very similar stories to mine. And so it was cool to see campers come to me and say, "Chris, can I have advice?" It was so cool to see the Lord bring that to fruition, and honestly such a joy to be able to be dude, I was where you are right now 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 8 years ago. And I know exactly what you're feeling. But more than that, I want to share with you how the Lord brought me out of that. And I want to share with you, teared up a little bit. I want to share with you how I know that the Lord will bring you out of it.
I've seen multiple things at camp, such as campers just all of a sudden understanding and a light bulb clicks and they know who God is and they understand that He loves them.
I had a group of overnight campers, two of which who did not get along very well. Even though they were not getting along, these troublesome campers gave their lives to Jesus halfway through the week. And it was amazing to see how God worked through them the rest of the week, that you can see changes and you can see Jesus working in the hearts of the campers.
Something that I learned in camp is that God sent down His Son Jesus, and Jesus then died for us on the cross, which created this rainbow bridge for us to cross. It's more like He's coming to us than it is us going to Him. Our legs are crippled because we sin. Basically, He's like, you know what? Since you're crippled, I'm gonna come over on that rainbow bridge and come get you, because that's what God wants. He wants to help us get over to His side. He wants us to go to heaven with Him.
The biggest thing that I have seen is just the simpleness of the gospel and how the simple gospel can reach multiple people. It doesn't matter if you are 5 years old or if you're 15, the gospel message impacts your heart. I think that it's really cool to just be able to watch campers and staff just learn to accept the love of Jesus Christ and accept the simple gospel message. He paid the price for us and we get to walk in freedom.